Glad you seemed to like the film. It was good. There you go.
Are there any questions? I mean, I hope you enjoyed it. The stuff is based on a comic book that I made. It sounds like you had fun with it and stuff, so it was fun to make.
What kind of compositing? You seem like there's a lot of compositing in that thing.
Yeah, we shot the whole film green screen and built CG environments. CG and the CG spacesuits also were quite a challenge, but yeah, everything. I think there was like about 82 visual effects shots. No, actually, no more, 105. Sorry, 105 visual effects shots.
For how many minutes?
7 minutes. That's a minute of that's credits. So
I wanted 10, but
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was my day job is I teach at a place called Media Design School in Auckland, New Zealand, and I have a production class where I have to make films with my students, training them for visual effects and animation. And I was looking around for stories. What should we do for next film? And I'd come across Carl's had all these little comic books of his characters, amazing little comic books, really, really amazing characters. So Connie was just such an interesting character, and Carl and I sat down probably about 4 or 5 months before this short started working out a story. And we ended up coming up with an entire script. There was this weird parody of the Aliens movie, and we've been working on that for like 3 months. And then Carl and this other guy, Timothy, went off, and then came up with a completely different one, which was the retelling of the moon landing. And we had the 2 scripts, and I was like, yeah, the moon landing one, that's funny. That's much stronger. Let's go with that one. And so that's where the genesis of the idea came from. Yeah.
How long was your post?
How long was the post? So we spent about 5 months. So I had a class of 15 students, and we spent 5 months doing post-production. Yeah, it shouldn't have taken that long, but it did. Yeah, quite a while. It was a lot of work. About 18,000 hours of work, just in the visual effects post-production. Yeah. So the main software that we use is our pipeline is built around Maya. The base mesh is built in Maya. The detail was all sculpted out in ZBrush, textured up, I think in Mari, and then rendered out back in Maya using V-Ray. One of the great things about being a school is you get all the best software at a really reasonable price. So we have all the best toys to play with. Yeah. What other stories? Yeah.
So the mixture of the real 1950s style spaceship and its outfits was really fun.
We had, and Carl came in and helped design with it, because a lot of that design aesthetic comes from Carl's world. So
I'm a big fan of all the Buck Rogers, the 30s Buck Rogers and that sort of stuff. So that's where Connie's look and all that sort of stuff comes from. And the original story, I had an incomplete comic strip. There was like about 4 panels into it, and then I just abandoned it. And so James saw this and said, well, this is really interesting, where can we take this? So that whole thing is based upon this incomplete four panel comic.
Yeah, there were two really, really strong panels that showed the Julius, the big crazy robot, firing a gun. No, actually, it was Connie firing a gun out the window, and there was a reverse angle of her back at the controls of her ship. And I was like, okay, these look really cool.
What's she shooting at?
What's going on?
Yeah. So I shared the writing credits with this other cartoonist friend of mine, Timothy Kidd, and he said, what about the space shuttle, the Endeavour, or something like that? And then I pulled it back and what about the moon landing itself? And that's how it all sort of fell into place. But yeah, it's a nice contrast.
Yeah.
So are we going to see more?
Do you want to see more?
I would love to see more.
We'd love to see more of it.
Absolutely. I'm developing a second story at the moment, so hopefully we can get it off the ground.
Do you have a Facebook page?
Have I got a Facebook? I have a website, comicbookfactory.net, and it's on Facebook as well. There's a Comic Book Factory on Facebook.
Yeah,
simple stuff.
the school that produced it, they have a Facebook page on a media design school, so everything is sort of promoted through that. Yeah.
So where can people see that?
See the film? At the moment, nowhere. This is the second screening in the States. Last night, it just had its premiere back in New Zealand. So there's one other festival. We have to hold it off the net for a little longer, and then we'll release it later in the year. Some festivals are still a bit picky about that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, it's we're very keen to get it out there. But yeah, on the back. Yep. Probably not on DVD. Because we use educational software, we're not allowed to sell the film and actually make money from it. So we can only give it away. Well, no, you're not allowed to try it. Remember that thing you signed on it?
Remember that thing you signed?
But it'll be online. We'll have it on Vimeo and YouTube and stuff like that. So just in a few months' time, it'll be out there.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah. What other things we want to talk about? For us, this is we've made all these short films we've made a whole lot of short films in the school. Some have done quite well, and I was aware that we hadn't had a really strong female character, and then Carl's work had this. Many of his comics have these really, really interesting, unique female characters, and Connie was I sort of saw her as a superhero, with her superpower being her brains. She's able to build this robot, she's able to build this ship, she's a super scientist. There's a massive backstory that we just couldn't fit into that film. And she became a really interesting character to explore. And I was a little nervous how it would play in front of an American audience. And it was interesting, the first screening we had back in New Zealand was actually, there was some executives from our school who were from the States, they were over from America at the time, and they were both women, and they loved the film because they resonated with this strong female character that had struggled, for them it represented all the struggles they'd had in the boardroom. And that was really cool, because I was a little worried that it would, way you go, yeah. Yeah, no, it was cool. I mean, it's you need to look up Carl's stuff. There's some really cool other characters. He's got this awesome one called, one of my favorites is Jessica of the Schoolyard, and she's this nasty bully at school. She's awesome.
My most popular comic.
Yeah, she's cool. Yep.
From my website, yeah. You just go to there's links to the shop, and you can buy stuff through there. Actually, if anybody wants some, I've got some comics to give away. If you're keen, I've got about 4 or 5 left over that I can. So just come up to me when it's finished.
Yeah, you get one.
Be nice to me, and I'll give you.
In the red, yeah.
Yep.
Oh no, I was just saying that I like one.
Oh, he wants one. Okay.
Yeah, I want one.
Sold.
Yeah. You're gonna start it. Yeah, the free comic books, you'll get killed here.
Yeah.
I think we've got another 4 minutes.
No, that's
Any
cool.
questions
That's what I
or
want to
anything?
talk about. Story, visual effects. Yeah.
What sort of period of time was you looking at? Start to finish?
Start to finish? Well, Carl and I,
Script took about 4 months.
Yeah, the script took about 4 months.
To write a script that we never used, and then it took about a month to write the second script, which is the one that...
This one here. And then from the point of actually like, really, let's go, we had about 4 weeks of prep. I know the entire production time from we're in pre-production to delivery with sound was about 6 months. But yeah, so it was about 3 or 4 weeks of prep, 2 day shoot, and then the rest is all post-production. Yeah.
All green screen with 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, we just got my question.
Oh, okay, cool. There you go. Yeah, one of the biggest challenges for us was getting the astronauts into the suits. It was interesting. We were halfway through production on this, and the trailers for Gravity came out. And we're like, oh no, someone else is doing CG astronauts, and oh man, they look really good too. Oh no, and so that raised the bar. Suddenly we had to try and get vaguely close. And we're at school. This is against Frame Store. Well, they were incredible power. I think we did okay, but essentially the same. The approach we had taken was the exact same one, which is basically keep the face, ditch everything else, CGI and everything else. And so we were able to, our compositing students would write out heads, and our animators would sort of animate a proxy body to match the movement of the actor. We would drive the CG suit, and we would render out the back of the helmet, the front of the helmet, all the other layers. Yeah, and that would.
No motion capture.
So no motion capture. That was all the body stuff is all of the astronauts is all keyframe animation matching the human actors. Yeah. But yeah, it was much easier to deal with the shots of Connie because she was in a cool costume. We didn't have to CG that.
Yeah.
But we did have to deal with the glass helmet. Right, that was all CGI. Because we didn't want to suffocate our actress. We also didn't know how to put a microphone in there to get good sound and also supply oxygen and all this. And you'd imagine there'd be fingerprints and all sorts of crap on it. So we just ended up we had tracking markers. We built the collar, we tracked that, and then built the CG bubble helmet around that. So that was a bit of a challenge. But yeah, the lighting stuff to be on the moon was a little difficult because you've got it's horrible, right? There's no fill light. It's just black. There's one incredibly bright point light, and then a bit of bounce from the ground. So it meant that you couldn't cheat. Well, we cheated. We cheated little nice room lights and extra things. Yeah, but it was still. Lighting the glass to try and make it look good was actually quite difficult. Yeah. Alrighty, I think we are done for normal question.
On your soundtrack.
Yep. Yeah, so we got a track. There's a famous New Zealand composer, rock and roll singer from New Zealand from the long back, Ray Bartlett, who provided us that awesome rock and roll song, and then a local composer, Jason Smith, composed all the body work for us. Yeah. So it was he did an amazing job. That was good fun. Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Comic-Con International would like to present you with a certificate of appreciation and say thank you for showing your home.